Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday. Today we're going to look once again at the Eternal Format's ban list and kind of explore a few of the cards on that ban list and why they happen to find themselves on that ban list. Up first, we're going to look at a card from base set. This is a card called Lass. So Lass has the effect, you and your opponent show each other your hands, then shuffle all the trainer cards from your hands into your deck. This is an extraordinarily potent effect that you can use on your first turn, even if you go first. So you can use whatever cards you feel like playing and then play last. Because it is an item card, not a supporter card, you can then take all the trainer cards out of your opponent's hand, effectively ending any shot they have at using any of the cards they had in their hand. So if they have their nest balls, their quick balls, their ultra balls, anything, literally anything, not just items, their supporters, all of the options they could have possibly had, they're now gone and in their deck again. What's crazier too is because you'll have gone first, typically, you'll have had access to your item cards at the very least, your stadium cards. Going first, of course, you can't play a supporter card at the moment, but you still have access to most of your trainer cards. Once you've last your opponent going first, the only thing they can do is hope that they draw into something relevant off the top of their deck, which of course is not very likely. A similar card is banned in the format also. This card's called Ghetsis. Ghetsis is a card that was also banned in the expanded format for a similar reason. In this case, it is a supporter card, but in both the Eternal and the expanded formats, it is very similarly oppressive as Lass. Of course, Lass is significantly worse, but Ghetsis was deemed by the Pokemon Company to be quite oppressive, and they banned it in their expanded format, and I have also banned it in the Eternal format for the same reason. It is quite a potent card, a very, very disruptive effect that just is a little too much for a format with as much consistency as expanded or Eternal have. And then the next card worth looking at here is Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl is a stage 1 Pokemon that has a very, very relevant Pokemon power. It's called prehistoric power first off, and it says no more evolution cards can be played. This power stops working while Aerodactyl is asleep, confused, or paralyzed. So in this particular instance, Aerodactyl is able to shut off all other evolution in the game. So once Aerodactyl goes down, there's nothing else. And Pokemon powers are not the easiest to shut off. They can be shut off, obviously, but they're not the easiest to shut off. But what makes it worse is that you can get this out turn 1. So you have Strange Cave, which can allow you to pull a Aerodactyl into play, dropping it from your hand straight on to your bench with the effect of Strange Cave. So you could do this turn 1, even going first. So before your opponent even has a chance to play cards down, suddenly Aerodactyl's in play. They can no longer evolve. They're out of luck. You're gonna have to you're basically forcing them to gust a 60 HP Pokemon to knock it out, which is not ideal for the game, especially because this is not the only card that has existed like this. In fact, another one you may be familiar with in the expanded format has also been banned by the Pokemon Company in expanded, and this is less oppressive than Aerodactyl. Same effect effectively. You can't, as it says here, ancient power. Each player can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their Pokemon. But the effect is ultimately the same. It causes a big warp in what actually sees success, pushing everything toward basic Pokemon, pushing out evolution entirely, which basically just warps the entire game in a very unfavorable way. Archeops and Aerodactyl are both out because of that reason. And again, Archeops has also been expanded. This is not unique to Eternal. And if Archeops is gone, the much more oppressive Aerodactyl, of course, does also need to go with it. Up next is one of the more interesting cards on this ban list. It is good old Espeon from Aquapolis. It has the Pokemon power Energy Return. As often as you like during your turn before your attack, choose an energy card attached to one of your Pokemon and return it to your hand. This power can't be used if Espeon is affected by a special condition. So in this case, you're thinking, that's not that big a deal. You're just putting energy back into your hand. How many energy can you really have? No, doesn't really matter. All you really need to abuse this is a single energy, and I will show you why. So there are so-called deluge or rain dance style effects that will attach an energy as often as you like in a turn. So for example, Blastoise, there's like a Frostlass, there's a bunch of cards like this where you can just basically rain dance a bunch of energy into play. So you drop an energy down, and you bounce it back up, and you're thinking, okay, why would you just repeatedly do that? That doesn't make any sense. Well, there are ways to abuse this. So there is an old Cemetery Stadium card here that lets you damage a Pokemon that's not Psychic type that has energy attached to it, right? And then you can use that Uniqueness to use Damage Swap to move damage around on the field and spread it out and abuse cards like Unown Damage, which is also on the ban list. So again, a couple of these cards in this combo have been hit intentionally to make it so that they cannot be pulled off, even if something else is printed. So in this case, Unown is hit and Espeon is hit to avoid any possibility of a combination like this one being pulled off. Unown damage, the effect here is of the ability. Once during your turn before your attack, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, and if there are 66 or more damage counters on your benched Pokemon, you may use this ability. If you do, you win this game. So you basically choose to win the game if you have 66 or more damage counters on your benched Pokemon. And because of Reuniclus's damage swap ability, you can make that damage pretty much wherever you want, however you want, and in combination with something like Blastoise and Espeon, you can repeatedly attach and damage your Pokemon over and over and over again until you have all the damage you need to drop Unown into the active spot and win the game. Which means you can pretty easily do this turn 2 with the consistency of the format. So again, Espeon's been hit and Unown has been hit for exactly this kind of reason. But that's not the only sort of thing that breaks Unown, right? We talked about the Gape Jaw Bog here. Unown also can be broken in another way. So here we have Gape Jaw Bog. So you're going to play a Pokemon down onto your bench, take a couple of damage. We have Klefki. So you put Klefki onto your bench with Gape Jaw Bog in play. Klefki takes 2 damage counters, and then you'll move that damage off that Klefki and onto one of your other Pokemon, and then use the ability effect here to pull Klefki off the bench and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Then using Weavile's Tear Away ability, you'll pull it off of there and replay it down onto your bench, effectively creating an infinite loop of damage moving from your Klefki onto your other Pokemon in play, and then piling up all that damage so that you have enough damage to use Unown damage. There's yet another combination that can work with that Espeon, and this is another one that's been hit, but this can also work in combination with cards like that Blastoise with Deluge earlier. But it's worth noting that Shuckle, Heart Gold and Soul Silver promo Shuckle, has the Pokebody Fermenting Liquid. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to Shuckle, draw a card. So you could Deluge and then return all that energy back to your hand with the effect of Espeon's effect, right? So you're just bouncing it back and drawing as many cards as you want each turn. Drawing yourself closer to deck out, yes, but if you're winning, it doesn't really matter. But even if that Espeon is gone, there are other effects, of course, that can return energy to your hand, stuff like Energy Reset. They're a little bit tamer, but they're still quite potent. It can still be used to really abuse an effect like Shuckles. So you're always going to, you're going to be able to just draw however many energy or how many cards you want based on the energy you have in play, which makes something like Energy Reset and Shuckle just a little too powerful of a draw combination in the format. And then finally, the last card we're going to look at today is Unown Hand. Unown Hand is extraordinarily powerful because of just the sheer volume of draw cards available to you in the Eternal format. You have cards like Acrobite, cards like Roller Skates that let you just draw. And Unown Hand only requires you to have 35 cards in your hand, which is just slightly above half your deck. So Unown Hand makes it very, very easy in this format to instantly win with the effect of Unown Hand, which says once during your turn before your attack, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, and if you have 35 or more cards in your hand, you may use this ability. If you do, you win this game. Right. So again, this is one of those instances where, just like the expanded format, the Eternal format has had to adopt this ban because, like the expanded format, it is far too easy to make Hand work. Hand can really be done in basically 1 or 2 turns without too much difficulty in the format, just because of how much draw there is. But that is the look at the cards on the ban list today. Hopefully you got a little bit of something out of this. I know some of you that have been around for a long time will go, yeah, these are obviously bans. They make perfect sense. But some of the new people in the format that maybe are questioning some of these bans, hopefully this helped you out and helped you understand why some of these cards are not available for deck building in the format. But if you'd like to learn more about the Eternal format, including the rest of its ban list, you can, of course, jump over to justinbasil.com/eternal and learn more there. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.